Welcome back to Bubba and Eli's pumpkin patch. It's July 11th. We are running behind, but the plants are starting to take off. What I'm going to show you today is how to pollinate a giant pumpkin. What we have, we grow 2,000 pound pumpkins. If you're new to the channel, I grew a 2043 Michigan state record, the current state record myself. We grow bigger ones. This flower here is on a Steve Deletus from Oregon's plant. Steve grew a couple of, I think 3 2,000 pounders last year, if not 4. Had an awesome year. They had the perfect weather in Oregon. 93 consecutive days with no rain. No rain is good. But this is your male flower, freshly opened male flower. I'm going to pick it off from the Deletus. It was 24 and some change. Don't remember exactly, but Steve's a commercial airline pilot. Been growing pumpkins for like 30 years. We've been growing them for a long time, at least 20. But he has won the Safeway contest in Half Moon Bay, California. Safeway food stores in California puts up like 30 grand a year and sponsors the Half Moon Bay contest. Steve has won that, I think, more times than anybody else. Great grower, awesome guy. Anyways, your male flowers, what happens with male flowers is you'll see the male flowers go down the line, and there's a male bud, there's a male flower that's old. We should pick that off and throw that away. You don't want to leave that debris hanging around, and it'll start the funky monkey. Clean it up. I'll have to tell Eli, let's get in here and clean it up. But we're going to pick a male flower, and that's what you want to do. Come out to your plant. You can see all the male flowers. Here's the boys. The boys are back in town. All right, all those are fresh males. This here opened yesterday. That's an older male. You can tell dingy around the edge. This is today's male flower. And they go down the line. This is 1794 Cotterman. You can see old flower, old flower, old flower. Here's today's flower opening. They'll go right down that line. Tomorrow that flower should open. Tomorrow, the next day, will be the next one will open down the line. That way you know which ones to pinch off. If you're pinching them off, it's not a big deal. Some people pinch off every male flower. Hurry up, pinch them off, or wasted energy. I've never done that. I've always left a lot of male flowers. These plants have so much enormous energy. I was telling somebody just yesterday, if you could contain all this energy and dump it into one pumpkin, you'd blow the pumpkin up. There's no way. Matthias Willie Hames, who grew the world record in Belgium, he grew it in a greenhouse. He did everything right, everything perfect. Probably had awesome weather. My guesstimate, educated guess, he may have contained maybe 70% of the energy of that plant into that pumpkin. You don't want 100%. So don't worry about it. Don't cut off all your male flowers. You don't have to. You can if you want, but I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not a game changer. That's all I can tell you. It's not a game changer. The tendrils, here's your tendrils. See the tendrils? The tendrils, one goes to the left, one goes to the right. That's like a kickstand. It helps that vine stand up. Without those tendrils, that vine would have a hard time standing up. And then we bury the vines. So some guys cut off all those tendrils. I really don't know why. I leave them. It makes the plant stronger. It makes it so that it can stand up. You're cutting off its legs. Cutting off its legs, but we bury the vines, Bubba. Yeah, you bury the vines, but you still cut off its leg until it roots in. It doesn't have a good hold. So I wouldn't cut the tendrils off. I'd leave them. That's just what I do. You can do what you want. Cut them off if you like. All right, here's the male flower. And actually, I wanted this pollen. This is a 1794 Cotterman. All right, we'll pollinate that one first. I have another flower open down there on the Pete Casper's. I believe it's Pete Casper's 1578, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pete. Please post a comment and tell me. But that's the 2145 McMullen, the hottest seed on the planet, crossed with the world record 2624 Matthias Willie Hames from Belgium. Those two pumpkins, the world record times the mother of the world record. That could be an awesome plant. I'm also pollinating that one this morning. But for now, what we're going to do is peel back the petals. And it is about 70 degrees. I woke up this morning. It was 70 degrees. I looked at my phone. It's 70 degrees out. Now, for pollination, the perfect temperatures are between 65 and 75 degrees. The window starts closing rapidly after 75 degrees per Joe Altz of Minnesota. I also learned that from Nick Welty, who's up north in Michigan. But here we go, pollinating the flower. We're just taking the male flower. All right, there's a little stamen. Look at the little bugger go. And there's the female, the stigma. And we're pollinating like the bees would do. Bzz, bzz. All right, there you go, baby. Was it good for you too? So there you go. We pollinate, we leave that on there. And I have a paint stock, a 5-gallon paint stock that I'll slip over here so the bees can't contaminate. And I'll use a rubber band. Some people will use a paper cup. They'll close up the flowers and put a paper cup on it, or a rubber band. I actually have a rubber band. I could stick a rubber band on here. However, I prefer the paint strainer method because I feel like, well, maybe oxygen helps the pollination. Even though I know the window's going to be sealed up here in about 2 hours, the window's going to be closed as the temperature rise today. But now this plant is pollinated with the Steve Deletus 2,400 pound pumpkin male pollen times the 1794 Birdman. The Birdman, Todd Cotterman from Holly. Well, actually he's from Fenton, Michigan, but he just lives out here in the Holly area. He came over to my garden like 5 years ago. On June 13th, I gave him a plant. He took it home, took it out of my compost pile. It was a plant I had stuck in the compost pile. Pulled it out by the stalk, carried it to the compost pile, stuck it in there. 2 days later, Todd shows up, takes that raggedy plant home, plants it in his backyard, his first pumpkin grow ever. Grows like an 1,190 pound pumpkin. I think it was like 1,200 pounds, right around 1,200 pounds. That pumpkin ended up in the back of a Ford truck driving through New York in a Ford commercial. All right, that was set up through John Harnica of Dundee, Michigan, set that up with Ford Motor Company. So how awesome is that? So yeah, get your plants and seeds from Bubba. Bubba has that lucky seed draw, sending the winning seed to Belgium. The lucky plant for the Birdman, Cotterman, ended up in a Ford truck. But Todd's a great grower. He's outgrown a nice one this year. He's got one going on. But there's your pollination, baby. The window closes here rapidly. I was also going to tell you about the plant. See how this plant's in the shade? It's in the shade, so the plant is warming up slower than this one's in the sun. It'll warm up faster. Some people like to cool their pollinations. If it's really hot out, if you're getting in the 80s and 90s, you're in a hot climate, they'll pack ice around the plant. They'll put fans in there. They'll make a little, maybe a 3-foot by 3-foot tent over the pumpkin, try to cool that area. Well, I'm telling you right now, you need to cool the entire plant. If you're hot, if you're 90 degrees and you're worried about losing your pumpkin aborting due to the hot weather, because they will do that if it's too hot out, shade the entire plant. If you have shade netting, take your shade netting, that's like 40%, 30%, or 40% shade netting, and shade the entire plant. Plants only need 50% of the sun's intensity for 100% production. So therefore, when you hang the shade netting over this whole area, even the soil, cover this soil, because this hot soil will be radiating 115 degrees, and that heat rolls off into the plant. So you want to cool the entire plant, not just the pumpkin area. That's the best thing to save your pollinations. I kind of equate it to a gorilla. If a gorilla is out in the jungle and he stubs his toe on an alligator's head, and then is the gorilla going to set out in the hot sun with his toe in the air? No, the gorilla is going to go sit under a shade tree and cool his entire body in the jungle with his toe up in the air. So there you go. You need to cool the entire plant. You heard it from Bubba, not just the fruit area. All right, man, keep them growing. Stay tuned for our next video. And hey, we're loving the plants here. They're growing like crazy using Morgan's Compost seed starter as our burying. We're burying the vines. You can see we're burying them. What we need to do now, because the soil's drying out, we haven't had rain in like a week. So I got to talk to Eli. Eli's actually putting a little bit of sand over the seed starter to try to help hold the moisture better. But what we need to do is we need to turn on the sprinklers. If it doesn't rain once a week, turn on your sprinklers so that you'll get the water to activate the root growth at the base of the stalk. All right, that I showed you. I'll link this back to the other video showing you how I talk about the water funneling down and igniting the root. All right, man, keep them growing. Talk to you soon. Hey, leave your comments and posts. We're going to give away, I'm going to give away a bloom and a root keeper in 2 days. Everybody who shares and comments on this video, Saturday in 2 days, today's Thursday, I'm going to pull out a winner for a bloom and a root keeper. All right? You pay the shipping. The shipping's $7.55 anywhere in the United States. If it goes to Canada, it's $23 to ship to Canada. If you want to pay the $23 and you win, you're in Canada, I'll ship it there. Europe, it's $32 to ship it to Europe. I'll ship it to Europe if you pay the $32. The root keeper and bloom combined are worth about $100. All the Mark's mixes have been removed from the website. The only way to obtain them now is through me, and the supply is limited. It's dwindling fast. All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Keep them growing. Stay tuned for our newest products. We got Morgan's composting products, as well as maybe some others that we'll be promoting on the YouTube channel. Talk to you soon, man. Keep them growing.